The galactic orphanage on Station Helios 9 was a cold place, despite the warmth of its artificial atmosphere. Rows of transparent pods lined the walls, each containing a child from a dozen different species. Some slept. Others stared out with eyes that had forgotten hope. In Pod 47C, a small Zyrathi girl pressed her three-fingered hand against the glass. Her skin shimmered with bioluminescent patterns that shifted from blue to gray, colors that reflected her dying spirit. She had been here for 6 standard years, longer than any other child in the facility. "No one will ever adopt me," she whispered to herself in the common tongue, her voice barely audible through the pod's ventilation system. The other children had families now, the Velcron hatchlings with their crystalline shells, adopted by wealthy merchants. The furry Malox cubs, taken by agricultural colonies needing extra hands. Even the Screeth twins, with their unsettling compound eyes, had found a home among scientists. But not her. Never her. The Zyrathi were a dying race, their homeworld glassed during the Convergence Wars. Most species saw them as cursed, their luminescent skin a reminder of the weapons that had destroyed entire star systems. Adopting a Zyrathi child meant accepting the galaxy's pity, its whispers, its judgment. The door to the orphanage hissed open. Katniss looked up from her monitoring station, her dark eyes narrowing as she observed the newcomer through the security feed. A human. Male. Mid-40s, perhaps. He walked with a slight limp, and his right arm bore the telltale scarring of combat regeneration. A veteran. She'd seen many hopeful adoptive parents walk through these doors. She'd also seen them leave without so much as a backward glance at the harder cases. The damaged ones. The unwanted ones. "Can I help you?" Katniss asked, her voice professional but cold. She'd learned not to get her hopes up for the children anymore. The man, his ID read Neo-Castellan Terran Defense Force, Ret, smiled. It was a tired smile, one that had seen too much. "I'm here to adopt." "Species preference?" Katniss pulled up the catalog on her holopad, already anticipating his answer. Humans usually went for the cute ones. The Malox cubs were popular. "Zyrathi." Katniss's finger froze over the screen. "I'm sorry?" "Zyrathi," Neo repeated, meeting her gaze steadily. "You have one here. Pod 47C. The holopad nearly slipped from Katniss's hands. In 5 years of working at this orphanage, no one, absolutely no one, had specifically requested a Zyrathi child. She studied Neo's face, searching for mockery, for cruelty, for some hidden agenda. She found only sincerity. "Mr. Castellan," she began carefully, "you understand what you're asking? Zyrathi children require specialized care. Their bioluminescence needs specific light frequencies. They're telepathically sensitive, which means—" "I know what it means," Neo interrupted gently. "I fought alongside the Zyrathi during the siege of Keltor 7. Finest soldiers I've ever known. Brave, loyal. They saved my life more times than I can count." He paused, his jaw tightening. "When the Convergence glassed their world, we were ordered to pull back, leave them behind. I've carried that weight for 15 years. I can't bring back their civilization, but I can give one of their children a home." Katniss felt something crack in her chest, that carefully constructed wall she'd built to protect herself from caring too much. She pulled up Pod 47C's file. "Her name is unpronounceable in common. She's been here 6 years. She's withdrawn, doesn't interact with the other children. Multiple families have passed on her." "Then she's perfect," Neo said simply. 20 minutes later, Katniss led Neo to Pod 47C. The Zyrathi girl looked up, her bioluminescent patterns flickering with confusion as the pod opened. She'd learned that open pods meant interviews, meant potential families who would ultimately choose someone else. She began to retreat into the back of her pod. "Wait," Neo said, kneeling down to her level despite the protest from his damaged leg. "Hi there. My name's Neo." The girl stared at him, her large, almond-shaped eyes searching his face. Her skin patterns shifted to a cautious yellow. Neo reached into his jacket and pulled out something, a small, worn patch. The insignia of the Zirathi Star Guard, the elite unit that had fought during the final days of their homeworld. He pressed it gently into her small hand. "This belonged to a friend of mine," Neo said softly. "Commander Thalix. He gave it to me before the end. He made me promise something. He said, 'If anything happens to us, remember that our children are our future. Protect them.'" The girl's bioluminescent patterns exploded into brilliant gold, the Zirathi color of profound emotion. Her tiny fingers closed around the patch. "I'm here to take you home," Neo continued, his voice thick. "If you'll have me." "I can't replace your people or your world, but I can promise you'll never be alone again. You'll never be unwanted again." Katniss wiped at her eyes, pretending to adjust her holopad. In all her years here, she'd never seen anything like this. The Zirathi girl launched herself into Neo's arms, her small body trembling. Her patterns cycled through every color in rapid succession. Grief, joy, hope, fear, love, all the emotions she'd suppressed for 6 long years flooding out at once. Neo held her close, his own eyes glistening. "I've got you," he whispered. "I've got you." As Katniss processed the adoption paperwork, she watched Neo and his new daughter in the waiting area. The girl was showing him her bioluminescent patterns, creating little light shows on the walls. Neo was laughing, genuinely laughing, in a way that suggested he hadn't done so in years. The child who had believed no one would ever want her had found a father who had crossed the galaxy specifically for her. And the broken veteran who had carried the weight of an entire civilization's death had found a reason to heal. In the cold vastness of space, where war had destroyed so much, 2 shattered souls had somehow found each other and become whole. Katniss filed the final form and smiled, really smiled, for the first time in months. Sometimes, she thought, the universe got it right after all. The end.